Karl Popper was one of the great philosophers of the 20th century, known for many of his ideas on science and also on open society. But one of his most intriguing concepts was the three worlds theory that he talked about. In it, Popper describes World 1 as the realm of physical objects, rocks, trees, atoms. World 2 is the realm of subjective consciousness, and also your thoughts, for example, and emotions and experiences. And in World 3 is the world of human creations, language, art, science, and culture. These ideas exist outside of one person once they are created. Now, far be it from me to correct Popper in anything, but I think a little bit of a better way to classify these three worlds is the following. World 1 remains the physical universe, made up of particles and matter, but it is limited to non-living and the most basic forms of matter and energy. It doesn't include things like trees, as Popper said. In World 2, however, information, life, and consciousness emerges. Here, special arrangement of particles in World 1 gives rise to structure, which is very different than mere matter. And since structure is inseparable from an existing observer, as we know from physics, to interpret it, in World 2, individual consciousness emerges. Essentially, in World 2, a special arrangement of particles in World 1 gives rise to more complexity and cellular life emerges. And then a special arrangement of these cells, namely, for example, neurons, gives rise to thinking brain and its product, the mind. The mind is shaped by its environment and in turn also influences and shapes its environment. And this interaction leads to World 3, which is a byproduct of the interaction between many thinking minds, a sort of epiphenomenon, which I would probably call the greater culture, and is also referred to as our collective consciousness, which is a total of our collective minds interacting. For me, Popper's classification, albeit a little bit different than the way I like to think about these worlds, it's a great simplifying force. World 1 is all about particles, World 2 is about structure, living things, and also consciousness, and at last, World 3 is the interaction between all of these different conscious things that exist. And as far as the human affairs and our daily existence is concerned, I think that it's pretty clear that World 3 is the domain of our culture, politics, and the emerging ideas that shape our societies. Now, when it comes to culture, there are many definitions for it, but I want to define it here as the culmination of our acquired ideas and behaviors, basically everything that our brains learn directly or indirectly as a result of experience after birth. So we have an individual culture, some call it acquired behaviors, and we also have a collective common culture that is a part of our family, kin group, ethnicity, nation state, and finally, humanity as a whole. I want to focus on culture at the level of the individual as it stands in contrast to our genes. To use a modern analogy, if our brain is considered a computer, our individual culture is the set of programs that we download onto it from the society's app store. These downloads are either conscious or subconsciously put through into our program thing as a result of experience and influence. These apps paint the world around us and frame the world as we see it, and therefore influence our behavior. So in some ways, we are programmed by the culture, and we in turn change the culture by exerting our own influence on it. To make a long story short, in my opinion, genes are those things that we're born with, and culture is everything we acquire after birth. It's our programming, and it influences our behavior much like our genes. Now, these acquired behaviors are the self-imposed rules or their lack of. As game theory teaches us, these are the rules by which we make sense out of the world. We try to optimize our outcomes in it. In a future video, I'll try to introduce the term culturalism, which has also been used in many different contexts. But like Popper's definitions, my goal is to define it in my own way and in juxtaposition to another term, racism. We do not judge based on immutable traits like racial genes. That would be racism. But judging based on acquired behaviors like individual culture is what I want to define as culturism. If human interactions are a game, are there some strategies that have greater payoffs than others? Now, in my opinion, it's the understanding of this emergent phenomenon of culture in World 3 based on Popper's classification that allows us to understand the consequences of cultural evolution, emergent cultures, on the world affairs. In a future video, what I'll do is I'll set out to define power and then hopefully tie this idea of culture to explain the root of modern conflict, culture wars, and the world as a battleground of ideas. Of course, from a moderate perspective the whole way. So subscribe for that and much more.